What can I say about Lunistice? It's a vibrant, fluid, and banger-filled 3D platformer that I found on the developer's Twitter page. The game was set to release soon, so I kept my eye on it and eventually picked it up on the day of its release. I originally had no intention of making a video on this game, but after spending a few hours playing and replaying it, I had to come out and shout into the void about this game and hope someone heard me. Hello!
Shut the fuck up!
So, let's go ahead and join Hannah in her journey in understanding the Lunistice. Lunistice, as I mentioned before, is a 3D platformer developed by a grumpy fox, published by Deck 13, and released onto Steam in the Nintendo eShop on November 10th, 2022. A grumpy fox had challenged himself to create a game in 30 days, and that product was Lunistice, even though it took a little longer than a month to develop. They wanted to create a fun, short, replayable, and affordable experience for all to be able to play, have fun, and enjoy the good vibes. But how affordable are we talking? Well, the game's price is $5, and there's a playable demo on both platforms. You used to be able to get a full Subway meal for $5, but that shit's $10 now. So instead of using that $5 on a yummy sub, you can get a pretty good game for the same price. Hell, even try the demo before you buy to see if it's your cup of tea. And for me, what a cup of tea it was. Firstly, let's cover the story. And I will be delving into spoiler territory, so if you'd like to skip this part, go on ahead to the timestamp on screen. You've been warned. Alrighty, with that out of the way, the story of the game isn't exactly told to you outright. You do have the opening cutscene to clue you in on the things that are going on, but it's in the files you unlock from each level that will allow you to piece together the whole story. And I'll try and summarize everything as best as I can. You play as Hana, a Tanuki who has been trained to participate in Project Lunistice, a project headed by Professor Renard, and is humanity's last hope in combating an extinction-level event caused by the moon, which is hurtling towards Earth. The project in the end is successful in stopping this event, destroying the moon in the process, but at the cost of all those who are a part of the project being stuck. They've been put in an accelerated REM cycle where the program has kept all of them stuck in a loop with no known way of getting it to end. Professor Renard, not giving up on his team, continues to try everything he can to help them break the cycle and awake once more. After some tests, Hana continues running through her dreams, attempting to remember who she was to awake. Finding these files while traversing through her dreams glitches the system, allowing her to awake and break the cycle, returning home. My first playthrough didn't really involve me paying too much attention to the story, as I was rather confused by the cutscene events and didn't really know about the files until I had completed the game. So, I went back, collected the files, played the final level, read all the files, and actually came to enjoy what the story was. It does feel like the developer wanted the average player to be more focused on enjoying the gameplay, while also still giving some extra treats for astute players and those who wanted to know more of the game's story and world. Speaking of gameplay, in Lunistice, you'll be playing as Hana the Tanuki as you travel through her dreams to reach the moon, uncovering the secrets of the Lunistice as you play through. You'll be running and jumping through each level, collecting origami cranes and defeating enemies as you platform your way all the way to the end goal. You'll find yourself going through multiple themed levels, each that carries some unique mechanic with them to help spice up the gameplay. Level 1 is a rather standard level, solely focused on platforming and introducing you to the game's general feel. Level 2 is a beach level that introduces bubbles that travel down a direct path when you jump into them, as well as rotating umbrella platforms. Level 3 is a theme park that introduces water slides that you have to balance on while you ride them, as well as balloons that you'll bounce from one to the other on. Level 4 is full of food and candy, with a mechanic that has the level elements timed to the beat of the music. Hazards move and platforms disappear on certain beats, displayed on the counter at the bottom of the screen. Level 5 is a forest level centered on utilizing mushrooms to create vines to grind on, as well as mushrooms to bounce on. Level 6 introduces air vents to traverse and avoid on your path to reaching the end goal. Level 7, the final level, combines all of these elements alongside introducing disappearing platforms and moving laser grids. And then there's the final level, which really does its own thing altogether. There are speed panels and launch pads that appear across levels, but those are rather universal and not quite unique to one level. Each level is linear, with the occasional path breaking off, or there will be a hidden pathway that leads to one of 4 collectible letters in the level that opens up a secondary end goal when all are collected. If done in Act 1 of each level, you'll gain access to a key, and when done in the second act while having said key, you unlock a file that not only is readable on the level select screen, but provides more lore and context to the game and also aids in you accessing the previously mentioned final level. There are 6 files in total, 1 for each of the levels leading up to level 7. Collect all of them to unlock the final file level, which provides an alternate ending to the game. Without collecting these files and finishing the final level, you'll be treated to a different cutscene than if you would have completed the former. But once you do wind up completing the game for the first time, you'll unlock 2 other characters to try your hand at completing the game with, and both change the way you play in fairly interesting ways. Those characters are Tori, a cute little bird with increased movement speed when compared to Hana, but has no attack and will die in 1 hit, and Tuki, another bird who has a faster attack than Hana, as well as a triple jump to make up for her lackluster jump height. Both characters are a blast to control and play with, allowing for even more replayability for these levels rather than the files and trying to get a better time. Tori even upped the difficulty of the game greatly in my opinion, as you have to go from checkpoint to checkpoint in 1 swift go. With all this praise, you'd think I have no issue with this game. Well, there's one big issue that I have. For me, this game has committed a grave sin. When platforming, it can be kind of difficult to tell where you are going to land, as your shadow can be hidden within other shadows in the world. And sometimes it also just doesn't exist. Many 3D platformers use a shadow to give visual aid in platforming. It's a way for the player to tell where they are in space and where they are relative to the ground. Lunistice has this, but the shadow is not dark enough and easily disappears in many segments across the game, making some platforming sections fairly frustrating and left me with a feeling of being cheated with some falls. Of course, this could be chalked up to, cross just get good, but it's something that has been actively hurting my experience with the game, making my fun chill times more frustrating. Alright, speaking of frustrating, level 4 can be rather frustrating. One specific instance are these rolling pins. A single jump is not enough to clear them. Only a double jump is. But if you don't jump fast enough and far enough, you'll either get clipped or get hit in the back as you're running away. This specific level has the most deaths I've ever received across the entire game, and this is on my 2nd playthrough, with me knowing everything to expect from the level. It's overall a great level from a design perspective, but just playing it is frustrating for me, and I wish it wasn't. I feel this is possibly due to the whole shadow thing from before, but we've already talked about that. There were a few other issues, but the developer has been actively tweaking and adjusting the game since its release. So, if the developer somehow sees this video, take my shadow suggestion with a grain of salt, as well as my complaints for level 4. The experience you've crafted here is fantastic and one that I'm glad to have spent hours playing. Overall, Lunistice is definitely worth at least giving the demo a try if you have any interest in 3D platformers. I'll be leaving the game's eShop and Steam page in the description, so be sure to check this game out if you'd like. Especially if you're hoping to get a $5 footlong from Subway today. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I also want to thank all of my subscribers for your continuous support, as well as those who aren't subscribed but still watch my content. If you wish to join the family and support the channel, consider liking the video and subscribing. We just recently hit 200 subscribers, and we're going for a challenge of trying to hit 300 subscribers by the end of the year. If we do, I'll do a full week of daily uploading. And with that, my name is CrossVee, and hope to see you all next time. Love y'all. Peace.